Let us open a highly critical, physically devastating medical case history that arrived in my trauma clinic on a hot Wednesday afternoon. The file belongs to a 73-year-old retired civil engineer named Frank, who traveled to see me from Austin, Texas. Frank was a man who took great pride in his remaining physical independence. He maintained his own lawn, actively managed his household repairs, and drove his sedan to the local Costco or Walmart every single week to handle the family grocery shopping. He felt entirely secure in his daily physical capabilities. But his entire physical sovereignty was nearly ended inside his own garage in a matter of 2 seconds. Frank had just returned home from a heavy shopping trip. He opened his trunk and prepared to unload the heavy plastic and canvas bags filled with canned goods, milk jugs, and household supplies. Because his left shoulder had a minor, nagging ache from an old injury, Frank executed an automated, deeply ingrained physical compensation that millions of senior Americans perform every single day without realizing they are walking directly into a mechanical trap. He gathered all 3 of the heaviest grocery bags, weighing a total of nearly 25 pounds, and tucked into a single bunch, looping the thin plastic handles exclusively around his dominant right hand and forearm. He kept his left hand completely free, intending to use it to steady himself against the car body and push open the heavy entry door to his kitchen. The exact millisecond Frank lifted that unbalanced load, locked his right elbow to brace the bags, and took his first step forward onto the sloping concrete floor of his garage, a silent, catastrophic structural and neurological emergency occurred. He did not feel an immediate muscle tear in his back. Instead, as he stepped forward onto his left foot, he felt a sudden, freezing wave of numbness flash down the very front of his left thigh. His left knee joint instantly lost all motor electrical current and buckled beneath him like wet cardboard. Frank dropped heavily sideways and forward, his face crashing against the brick corner of his home's entry step, resulting in a severe concussion, a broken collarbone, and an acute lumbar nerve root compression that required immediate emergency hospitalization. In my orthopedic surgical books, we classify this highly volatile mechanism of injury as the asymmetrical lateral lobe femoral nerve deactivation. Most seniors look at this method of carrying all their packages on one single arm and view it as a completely normal, efficient, and harmless way to save a trip to the car. They tell themselves, "I'm strong enough to handle this. It's just a short walk into the kitchen, and it leaves my other hand free to grab the handrail." But today, under the unyielding clinical guidance of Dr. Arthur, I am stripping away the illusion of everyday household safety to deliver a profound, forensic biomechanical warning. Carrying heavy loads exclusively on one side of your body after age 70 is an incredibly dangerous structural error. You are actively forcing your delicate lumbar vertebrae into a mechanical dead zone of absolute asymmetric shear stress, short-circuiting the exact neurological power lines that control your knee stability, and setting your entire walking stride up for a sudden, uncontrollable collapse onto the floor. Today, we are going to conduct a deep scientific investigation into why Frank's legs were turned off by his grocery bags, and more importantly, I will teach you the comprehensive 7-drill neural workaround to permanently protect your lifespan balance. To truly understand how an ordinary task like holding grocery bags on one side of your body can instantly cause your brain's primary knee stabilization network to experience a total electrical failure, we must conduct a detailed anatomical investigation into the unforgiving structural physics of the lumbar spine and a deep muscle known as the quadriceps lumborum. Your entire skeletal column is engineered to function like a symmetrical vertical mast on a ship. When you carry a weight that is distributed evenly between both arms, such as a 10-pound weight in your left hand and a 10-pound weight in your right hand, the downward gravitational forces pass cleanly and vertically through the center of your vertebrae, dividing the load equally across your intervertebral discs. However, The exact second Frank gathered all 25 pounds of groceries and held them exclusively in his right hand, he introduced a brutal lateral mechanical force known as an asymmetric gravitational lever arm. Because the weight was pulling his right shoulder and torso down toward the concrete floor, his skeleton faced an immediate crisis. If left unchecked, the weight would tip his entire upper body over sideways. To prevent Frank from tipping over, his brain instantly fired a massive survival command to the massive muscle lining the opposite side of his lower back, the left quadratus lumborum. The quadratus lumborum originates on the top of your hip bone and tethers directly into your lowest ribs and the sides of your lumbar vertebrae. To keep Frank upright, his left quadratus lumborum had to contract with immense, unmitigated force, acting like a tight steel cable pulling in the opposite direction of the groceries. This creates a highly destructive kinetic phenomenon known as lateral lumbar shear stress. Under this crushing one-sided muscular contraction, the L2, L3, and L4 vertebrae are violently pulled sideways and squeezed together under thousands of newtons of abnormal tension. This severe lateral squeezing forces the jelly-like center of the intervertebral discs to herniate directly sideways into the narrow openings where your spinal nerves exit the column. This is not just a standard backache. This is an immediate neurological disaster for your walking mechanics. Emerging directly from between the L2, L3, and L4 vertebrae is the massive femoral nerve tract. The femoral nerve is the primary electrical highway responsible for supplying motor current to your quadriceps, the large four-headed muscle group at the very front of your thigh. The quadriceps muscle group is your body's absolute primary mechanical brake and structural pillar. Every single time you take a step forward and land on your foot, the quadriceps must contract forcefully to keep your knee joint from collapsing forward under your body weight. The exact millisecond Frank stepped forward onto his left foot, while his left lower back muscles were in that state of extreme asymmetric compression. The bulging disc material and crushed facet joints slammed directly into his left femoral nerve root. In the world of neurophysiology, this intense compression triggers an immediate electrical blockage known as conduction block neuropraxia. The physical pressure completely blocks the internal flow of neurological energy waves. It is the exact electrical equivalent of flipping the main circuit breaker to an entire room. In a split second, the brain's motor commands could not bridge the gap through the compressed lumbar spine to reach the left thigh. The femoral nerve conduit went completely silent. The quadriceps muscles on Frank's left leg lost 100% of their tone and went completely flaccid mid-stride. Because his left leg could no longer act as a rigid pillar to absorb his landing momentum, his knee joint bent uncontrollably forward. Frank dropped instantly like a severed puppet, launching his upper torso into the brick step, fracturing his collarbone, and leaving his balance architecture completely shattered. Today, we are going to manually repattern this dangerous material handling blueprint. I am going to teach you how to implement a specialized closed-chain motor learning drill specifically engineered to maintain absolute bilateral symmetry across your hips and spine. We will completely eliminate asymmetrical carrying errors from your household routines, ensuring your lumbar openings stay wide open, your femoral nerve conduits remain uncompressed, and your leg muscles receive an uninterrupted, maximum current of stabilizing electrical power every time you unload your car. We will now systematically master the precise clinical movement choreography and the advanced neurological drills designed to permanently shield your lumbar spine from asymmetric shear stress. If you are over the age of 70, you must study these physical variables with absolute, non-negotiable precision. The core masterpiece, the 50-50 Symmetrical Split-Load Carry, the grocery trap cure. This is the #1 physical movement workaround engineered to completely replace the one-sided carry, forcing your spine to remain perfectly vertical and keeping your femoral nerves wide open. The setup phase. When you open your vehicle's trunk to unload packages, never rush to grab everything in one hand. Look at the total volume of your items and mentally organize them into 2 equal weight categories. If you have a single heavy 20-pound bag, bring 2 smaller reusable canvas bags and manually divide the items into 2 10-pound loads before lifting. The action. Phase 1. The parallel squat stance. Stand directly facing your trunk with your feet positioned perfectly parallel and slightly wider than hip width apart. Squeeze your lower abdominal core to 20% activation. The action. Phase 2. The dual arm hook. Grab 1 equal weight bag in your left hand and 1 equal weight bag in your right hand. Loop the handles high onto your forearms near the elbow crease if your grip strength feels fatigued. The action. Phase 3. The symmetrical shoulder lock. Pull your shoulder blades backward and downward toward your back pockets. Do not allow your shoulders to round forward or drop to one side. Look straight ahead, locking your gaze onto a horizontal horizon line. The action. Phase 4. The symmetrical piston stride. As you step forward to walk into the house, march with a deliberate, slow tempo. Focus on keeping your torso perfectly vertical, refusing to let your spine tilt or sway left or right even a single millimeter. Imagine you are carrying 2 full buckets of water that will spill if your shoulders tilt. The blueprint schedule. Execute this 50-50 split load carry every single time you transport any materials inside your home, whether it is groceries, laundry baskets, or trash bags. Treat it as a strict clinical prescription for your longevity. Supporting Protocol 1. The Seated Isometric Quadriceps Lumborum Equalizer, Lateral Spine Shield. This drill actively trains the deep muscles of your lower back to maintain absolute structural symmetry, preventing one side from overcontracting and crushing the spinal nerve openings. The setup. Sit perfectly tall on a firm wooden dining chair, keeping your spine entirely away from the backrest. Place your feet flat on the floor. The execution. Place your right palm flat on the outer border of your right knee. Squeeze your core tight. Now, attempt to lift your right hip bone vertically upward toward your ribs while simultaneously pressing downward with your right hand to block the movement entirely. No actual movement should occur. It is a brutal battle of pure isometric force between your hand and your back muscle. Hold this peak contraction for 10 seconds while breathing normally. Repeat on the left side. The variables. Perform 5 sets of 10-second holds on each side daily to recalibrate your lower back muscle balance. Supporting Protocol 2. The Extended Farmer's Walk Symmetrical Alignment, Gait Anchor Drill. This protocol trains your central nervous system to maintain a stable horizontal pelvic platform when carrying loads over long distances. The setup. Hold 2 identical light weights, such as 2 half-gallon jugs of water, comfortably at your sides. Stand perfectly tall in an open hallway. The execution. Lift your chin parallel to the ground. Walk slowly down the hallway using an exaggerated heel-to-toe rolling strike. With every single step, focus on pressing your foot firmly into the earth and keeping your hip bones perfectly level with one another. Do not let your pelvis drop or swing. The variables. Walk back and forth down a 15-foot hallway 6 times continuously once per day. Supporting Protocol 3. The Wall-Supported Single-Leg Quad Ignition, Femoral Nerve Activation. This movement forces the critical quadriceps muscles to fire under an isolated load, ensuring your neural pathways can maintain maximum knee stability during weight transitions. The setup. Stand with your back resting flat against a smooth wall. Heels positioned 12 inches away from the baseboard. Slide down into a mini squat until your knees are bent at a soft 30-degree angle. The execution. Shift your entire weight onto your left leg. Slowly lift your right foot 1 inch off the ground, leaving your left leg to support your full body weight against the wall. Focus entirely on squeezing your left thigh muscle as hard as humanly possible to lock your knee in place. Hold this peak contraction for 15 seconds, then switch legs. The variables. Complete 4 sets of 15-second holds on each leg daily to eliminate quadriceps amnesia. Supporting Protocol 4. The Closed Chain Lateral Hip Hinge Reset, Pelvic Leveling Drill. This drill releases chronic muscle shortening inside the lateral hip capsule, allowing your pelvis to drop into its correct anatomical alignment after a heavy carrying session. The setup. Stand with your left side next to a kitchen counter, holding onto the edge with your left hand for safety. Place your feet together. The execution. Keep both knees perfectly straight. Now, consciously allow your right hip bone to drop down toward the floor as low as possible, causing your pelvis to tilt sideways. Hold for 2 seconds, then use the outer muscles of your left hip to pull your pelvis back up until it is perfectly level. The variables. Complete 15 slow, controlled pelvic drops on each leg daily. Supporting Protocol 5. The bilateral hand grip neurological synchronization. Autonomic balance matrix. Carrying objects triggers a heavy reflex path down your arms. This drill ensures both hemispheres of your motor cortex fire equally, preventing one-sided spinal guarding. The setup. Hold 2 soft stress balls or rolled-up socks in both hands simultaneously while standing tall. The execution. Inhale deeply. As you exhale slowly, squeeze both hands simultaneously with maximum equal force for 5 seconds, then release. Focus on making the grip strength 100% identical in both your left and right palms. The variables. Complete 10 synchronized grip press cycles daily before going shopping. Supporting Protocol 6. The tibialis anterior standing wall pulse, anterior braking booster. Strengthening the front shin muscles ensures your feet can create a solid, stable mechanical brake when walking down a sloped driveway under load. The setup. Stand with your upper back flat against a wall, heels resting 8 inches forward from the baseboard. The execution. Keep your knees completely straight. Lift the front of both feet up into the air as high as humanly possible, pulling your toes toward your shins. Hold the peak lift for 2 full seconds, feeling the intense burn in your shins, then lower slowly. The variables. Perform 25 continuous controlled repetitions daily to preserve your landing brakes. We have now conducted an exhaustive, comprehensive forensic investigation into the precise medical mechanics of senior carrying transitions, lumbar shear stress, and femoral nerve conduction pathways. We have unmasked the hidden, everyday hazard, the asymmetric one-sided grocery carry that drives severe, acute neural blackouts inside your thigh muscles and pushes your intervertebral structures to a point of catastrophic failure. We have mapped out the precise, 7-drill neural workaround required to shield your spine and secure your balance. But as your physician, I must speak to you with absolute, unyielding candor. The laws of human biomechanics and skeletal degradation are completely merciless. They do not care about your convenience, they do not care about how many errands you have left to run, and they do not rest for a single second. Every single time you open the trunk of your car, bundle all your heavy packages into one single hand, and allow your spine to bend violently to one side, you are actively signing the blueprint for your own physical destruction. You are playing a dangerous, high-stakes game of chance with your femoral nerve roots and your long-term independence. Therefore, you must treat this 50-50 symmetrical split-load carry and your daily spinal alignment protocols not as an optional lifestyle tip, but as a mandatory, life-saving medical prescription. Just as you would never dare to skip your vital heart, blood pressure, or life-preserving diabetic medications, you must never allow your skeleton to transport heavy weights without utilizing its strongest, most balanced vertical pathways. This tiny investment of physical discipline at your car trunk is your ultimate, unshakable insurance policy against emergency trauma wards, spinal nerve damage, and the tragic, terrifying onset of a wheelchair-dependent lifestyle. Make an unyielding vow inside your mind starting today. The moment it is time to unload packages, your arms divide the weight equally, your shoulder blades lock back, your core braces, and you walk with absolute parallel leg sovereignty. Turn your daily household chores into a bulletproof exercise in longevity. I want to remind you of an extraordinary, deeply comforting biological reality. Your lumbar ligaments, your intervertebral structures, and your central nervous system, possess an absolutely magnificent, lifelong capacity for structural adaptation and neuroplastic repair. Your body is hardwired by nature to respond beautifully to targeted structural challenges, regardless of whether you are 70, 80, or 90 years old. Aging does not mean you are condemned to feel weak, shaky, or dependent on others just to carry your shopping bags inside your home. You are never too old to drop the asymmetric load, level your spinal pressures, and master your balance. You hold the precise clinical blueprint right now to rewire your nervous system, protect your femoral nerves, and reclaim your power. Stop letting a simple daily grocery habit or the subtle onset of lower back stiffness dictate the boundaries of your physical freedom. Do not step back from the world. Shield the delicate discs inside your lumbar spine. Unlock the symmetrical tracking inside your massive hip joints. Ground your parallel heel drive, and step out of your car and into your home with an upright posture, complete balance, absolute confidence, and total, unshakable sovereignty over your physical freedom and your lifespan trajectory. If this forensic biomechanical investigation shed light on your movement journey and brought true value to your life today, please take a moment to support our channel's mission by hitting that like button. Share this vital video immediately with your spouse, your close friends, your neighbors, or anyone over 70 who handles their own groceries and deserves to stay strong, safe, and entirely independent for all the golden years to come. Let us build a global community of resilient, unshakable seniors together. Thank you for investing your valuable time with me today. I am Dr. Arthur. Protect your spine, move with absolute power, and I will see you in our next Clinical Health Blueprint video.